Hey everyone, let's jump right into this topic today. You've probably noticed that these videos or this content is called Sex Ed Reclaimed. It's the way that the video starts and ends with those words on the screen. Those 3 words are the title of this company and the content you're watching now. I am going to explain what each of those words means. So let's begin. As you might understand, the word sex can mean different things. One definition is the word sex means male or female. So let's say you're filling out a form and it asks you what your sex is. You would circle M or F, male or female. This is your biological sex. Sometimes we hear about this in the news or in political conversations even, as people talk about what biological sex means today. Bio actually means life. When you read a biography, then you're reading that person's life story. Your biology is your anatomy, your body parts. Includes things like your genetics, passed down to you from a man and woman, like your parents, in something called DNA. Right now, you're seeing a picture of DNA on the screen. Maybe you've seen that before. DNA is part of what makes us us. DNA and genetics are why biological siblings look alike. They have similar genes, not the pants we wear, but genetics. Adopted family members look like their biological parents. So sometimes when people say that word sex, they mean your biological sex. Are you male or female? Other times, they may be talking about a very intimate, a very special activity. And this is the one that sometimes parents or adults have trouble explaining. Sex is an activity that occurs between people, and sex can create a baby. It's how babies are made. It's part of the reason you're so amazing, because you were made amazing. You developed in the uterus, you started as tiny little cells, you are a miracle. The way a baby usually begins is through sex, and it's for adults. It's an activity for adults. The act of sex is when sperm and egg meet each other to create that baby. Sperm from the man and eggs from the woman. They're tiny cells, but when they're combined, they start to form and grow. That is how you and I first began. We were very small. So, sex can mean biological sex, like I told you about first, or it can mean the special act, the activity a couple does to make a baby. During sex, the man's penis goes into the woman's vagina in order to release sperm into her body that makes the baby. This is supposed to be enjoyable for a couple. It's supposed to help them to grow closer to each other, even though it might sound really weird to you. How do you feel about that word sex now? And the information I just gave you. What do you think about how a baby is made? Any feelings or emotions you have are normal. So I want you to pause the video here and in a couple sentences, out loud or on paper, describe what your reaction to that information is. Whether you thought it sounded interesting or weird or silly or strange, uncomfortable. Describe your reaction now. Now that you know the definition of the word sex, should you go tell everybody what you learned, all your friends? Well, what you learned is not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing, but it's something most kids your age don't understand or even know about yet. And this part is important. It's not your job to tell them. Leave this topic to their family, their parents. They shouldn't learn about such a big, important topic from their friends, but really they should learn about it from their families. Or maybe even from health class, or from Sex Ed Reclaimed. Sex is for adults to explain well. So you are getting smarter, and you know that babies don't come from storks or pop out of tummies magically, but not everybody knows that yet. Can you believe one time I taught a whole middle school group of 13-year-olds? They were 7th graders, and they mostly thought babies came from storks. So you're smarter than those 7th graders right now. You understand that the act of sex shares the sperm and the egg between a man and a woman, and that can create a baby. By the way, this act of sex is why people who aren't married can also have kids. Even though sex is a big deal, people can become parents when they're not yet ready if they share sperm and egg during sex, which is what happens. Sometimes adults do make up silly things about what sex is or where babies come from, like the storks thing, and they might lie about it because they feel so uncomfortable explaining it or they don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can understand that discomfort. It's normal to be uncomfortable about something that isn't talked about very much. However, when you have questions about bodies or sex, you should ask your trusted adult who can talk to you, whoever is safe for you to talk to about this. At school, most teachers don't talk about this topic yet. It might not apply to them or they don't need to be explaining it. So you might get a body talk at school one day or a puberty talk or in your co-op or in another group. But a big part of the reason you're watching these videos now is because your adults want you to understand more about this so you can be ahead of others and know the truth. As I said at the beginning, this curriculum and this company are called Sex Ed Reclaimed. You know what sex means. Ed, and maybe you figured this out, is simply a short way to say education. Because this is education about our biology, about our bodies, about sperm and eggs, and more. The very last word of the company name is the word reclaimed, which means to take back. I love this word. Reclaiming something is fun and exciting, kind of like if you lose a jacket or a toy or anything and you find it. You're reclaiming it as yours. You see, I don't want people to learn about sex ed just anywhere, like from the movies or their friends or the internet or social media. I want to reclaim, to take back this conversation about sex from others who took it, and it wasn't theirs to take. I want us to talk about special topics together, and so does your adult. The very last thing I'll say in this video is that all of this content, these videos, are about educating you correctly from a healthy standpoint, educating you comfortably and right wherever you are, whether you're at school or home, in your co-op, or another safe place you're learning from. So I hope you do learn a lot from these videos and that you find your trusted adult to talk to about them and feel smarter knowing the truth. Thank you for watching these videos from Sex Ed Reclaimed.